Hello, everyone, and welcome you for today's session on Future Proof with Oracle DB. This is the webinar, and we are organizing this webinar in collaboration with Oracle and Reddington. Today, we are presenting this Future Proof in Oracle DB webinar presented by our featured speakers for the day. Let me introduce them to you. This is our featured speaker for the day is Mr. Suresh Kumar MK, who is the database head at 4A Apps, and he's also a subject matter expert of Oracle DB, and he have around 20 plus years of experience in the database practice. And he has handled various Oracle ERP and database related projects, which gives him a lot of enough knowledge in the his Oracle career. So we also have another featured speaker for the day, Mr. Abdul Aziz, who is the technology cloud architect from Oracle. He is also a strong subject matter expert in the Oracle DB practice, and he have a strong experience in that region as well. So before going into the topic for the day, let me give you a quick introduction about 4i App Solutions. So 4i is a consulting and service firm which is located in almost 8 countries of the world. We are specialized in Oracle applications and technologies, and we are an Oracle Modern Partner Network, and also which was previously Oracle Platinum Partners, and we are also an Oracle Expertise Partner as well. Our companies are located our companies are located in 8 countries. That is in UAE, Oman, Qatar, Singapore, Malaysia, USA, and Canada. Right. So we also have a strong workforce. We also have a strong Oracle team who are certified in Oracle, which is around 450 plus. We have recognized as Deloitte Past 500 company by Deloitte, and we are also won Red Hiring Asia Award for APAC region, and lot more accolades in the Oracle region. So this is a quick introduction about the 4i solution. Without further delay, let us turn the time over to Mr. Suresh Kumar MK, who will give you the quick highlights and agenda for the day.
Thank you, Arjun, for the quick introduction. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So I welcome you all to this webinar, Oracle 19C webinar, the future proof your Oracle database with 19C. Oracle, we are going to explain about this Oracle database 19C key features. So as you all might be knowing, this Oracle database 19C offers customers the best performance, scalability, reliability, and the security for all their transactional as well as the analytical workloads. So Oracle Database 19C has been a long-term support release in the Oracle Database 12C family of products. So it has a very, even though 20C and 21C has been released, still 19C has a very long-term support release than 20 and 21C. So it offers extended support and premier support till 2024 and 2027. So it's available on premise as well as in Oracle Cloud. So I'll just quickly walk you through the agenda of today's session. So we'll be giving a quick introduction on 19C for the benefit of people who are not aware about 19C, and the key features related to high availability, and how we're going to upgrade to 19C, what are the options available, and what are the versions you need to be on to upgrade. And we'll be talking about, just touching upon the advanced diagnostic features and advanced security, and how it is easy to port to Oracle Cloud, and about the support strategy with respect to Oracle. So now I just hand it over to Mr. Aziz for the quick introduction on the 19C database.
Yes, thank you, Suresh. So you can keep sharing the slides. Actually, I think it's better.
No, actually, you want me to share it because I thought you'll have better control.
That's okay. I can tell next slide, and then you can.
Oh, when I'm presenting, you can change the next slide.
Yeah, you can change it. I think another thing is that because I see we are recording. I think it's better to mention that we are recording the session, so people will be aware.
Yeah, Arjun, I think okay, fine. You want me to tell that, or Arjun can tell that?
I'll do one thing. I'll just let the attendees know that we are recording the session.
Okay, fine, no problem. Yeah, you also let them know because in the introduction itself we have to tell that.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, hand it over to her, and also I want to let you know that this session will be recorded. You just tell them. Okay. So Aziz, you're sharing the screen now.
Okay, I will share the screen. Yeah.
Okay, okay, fine. So I will just immediately stop it. So you be ready, and as soon as I stop, you can start it. Okay.
I think I already shared it. So
Sorry?
I will start from here. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to start from here. Correct.
So before we deep dive into Oracle Database 19c, it is important to remember that Oracle Database has been the cornerstone of enterprise systems for the last 40 years.
I think
Over that time,
I think we will not see it. We don't have time, Aziz. So I think this is fine. We just wanted to see the toggle alone. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I think that's fine. See now I'm not able to move to the slide next slide because you
No,
only have.
I can, because I'm sharing now. I can.
Yeah, correct. That's what I'm saying. So it's better you do it when you are presenting, and when you hand it over, you just stop. Now you stop the presentation. Now you stop the share.
I will do it. Okay.
Okay.
Now
you stopped it, right? This will stop. Okay. Now immediately I'm just sharing it. Okay.
Okay.
You're able to see my screen?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
So what I will suggest is, sir, one person can share the screen, and while others, for example, if Mr. Aziz is speaking, I think you can slide. I mean, you can move on the slides while he's talking, right? I mean, that may eliminate the toggle in between the screen sharing. What do you suggest, Aziz?
Absolutely, yes, I agree with that. I will say next slide, and he will do next slide.
Yeah, when you want to move, you can say next slide so that he will move on to the next slide. I think.
Okay. Fine. You tell me next slide, then I will myself will share it as okay.
Yes.
Okay. For example, now you're able to see my screen, right? So here you're talking about this, then you say next slide, then I'll move next slide. Okay. Then you talk about this, again say next slide. Okay.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Arjun and Aziz, till now the voice, everything is clear, right?
Yeah.
It's
Your voice is very clear. What about mine?
Yours also is clear. Yeah, Aziz also is clear. So just want to check. So in case any disruption, in between, maybe other person can take over and just fill that gap. Maybe other person who's if he is coming back, he can join and then take over next session. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Also, Mr. Suresh and Aziz, what I am planning to do is, like, in the end of before handing over to you, I will say that we are recording this session, and if attendees you have any questions, you can drop down in the question section, right, or in the chat box, where should we raise the question, or if we have the questions on the last, how should we do it?
They can. I think they can. People can post questions in Q&A, and
right? Yeah.
Whoever has time, he can answer by writing. And if there's any pending questions, we can answer them at the end.
All right. Yeah, I'll mention that as well in the chat so that they can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so since I'm presenting, so only at the end of the session we need to give the answers, Aziz, right?
Yeah, if there's any pending question, we can give answer here at the end.
In between, you won't be able to give because the both are occupied, right? In between, if when I'm presenting, maybe you can see the questions because I'm only driving the slide, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah. So when I'm driving the slide, when my content is there, you can see and answer the questions.
Yes.
Okay. So because I will not have a chance to answer the questions at all because I cannot go out of this presentation mode.
Yeah.
Right?
I will.
Yeah. So all the time you just when you are not talking about the content, you can just see for the questions and just answer it. Okay. And then rest of the questions, end of the session, whatever is there, I will also pitch in. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So for the questions, we will just see. One second. Q&A here. Open questions, answer. Okay. Only host and okay. Can you just type a? Okay, don't want to do that now, right? Just type hello everyone something.
But in Q&A, I see it is stating no open questions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I
no.
don't think since we are all in the host section, I don't think will have the access to type the questions. Only attendees can type, I guess, if I'm not
Okay,
wrong.
okay.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. We have the Reddington team as well here, right? So, Mr. Kenny is also here. Kenny, can you hear me?
Hi, Suresh.
Hi, Kenny.
Hi,
Hi,
Actually,
Suresh.
hi.
Yeah. So, in the Q&A section, I think the attendees can write the questions, right? Since when we try to drop any hello or anything in the Dropbox, we don't have the access to type. So, attendees would be having that access, right?
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
all the
They,
hosts have access to the Q&A and the panelists, and they can then answer to the questions.
All right. Got it.
So, but primarily, I think the best way to do this is we'll finish off the session, and then we'll answer questions as they come in.
Yeah, correct. Once you start posting questions, then we'll be able to see that and answer it. And once you click on this question and answers, correct?
Yeah, if there are any questions, if you feel like we should definitely talk about it, then that questions we can go on and discuss on the Q&A section. The others, if there is any like simple questions which can be answered in the chat, that can be answered in the chat as well. Like if I'm not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, correct.
So we have a couple of our attendees joining us now. We have approximately 7 guys, I guess. We're waiting for more.
Yeah. It's just 10 more minutes is there. So anyway.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Okay. Yeah, because I changed actually the headset. New one.
So Aziz, the last but one slide after the auto upgrade, I will just hand it over to you before the Q&A. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Let's include all the innovations in 12C.
Yes.
So I'll just put that presentation mode itself. I'll share the screen. I'll keep it there. So that yeah, able to see my screen now?
Yes, we can see it. Yeah.
So I leave it here like this.
Okay, Rajesh, I'll issue a new estimate for 2,500.
Please post your questions in the Q&A section one by one. So we will come to
Marian, can you mute yourself? Hello.
Mr. Aziz and Mrs. Suresh, shall we start or should we wait for some more attendees to join?
Yeah, we'll wait for 2-3 minutes because not at
Sure.
time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Arjun, I think you can start, Arjun.
All right. So, hello everyone, and a very warm good afternoon to everyone who is present here. I welcome you all for today's session. So, we are organizing this webinar in collaboration with Oracle and Reddington. So, today we are presenting this webinar on the topic of future-proof your Oracle database, and we have our featured speakers for the day here. Mr. Suresh Kumar MK. He is the database practice head at 4AF Solutions, and he's also a subject matter expert in the Oracle database premise. He have 20 plus years of work experience in this Oracle database premise, and he have a strong knowledge in core database related uh, applications. So we also have Mr. Abdul Aziz, who's a technology cloud architect from Oracle, who is also a subject matter expert of Oracle DB with strong experience in DB premise. So before diving into the topic, let me give you a quick introduction about 4iApp Solutions. 4iApp Solutions is an Oracle consulting and service providers firm, and we are located in almost 8 countries. Uh, 8 countries in specific to UAE, Oman, Qatar, Singapore, Malaysia, USA, and Canada. Our head office is in India. We are an Oracle Platinum Partner company, and we have been working with Oracle for more than a decade now. We are Oracle Platinum level partners, which is now upgraded to modern partner network, and we are also an Oracle expertise partner as well. When it comes to Oracle, we have a strong workforce team who of 450 plus consultants, right? So we have all the 450 plus consultants we have in our company is certified in Oracle, and they have a strong knowledge in Oracle domain where they are in. We have experience in the market, and we have scattered around more than 300 plus customers and more than 1000 to 2000 projects in this market. When it comes to the accolades, we have been recognized as a Deloitte Technology Fast 500, and also we have won Red Hiring 100 winner, which is a recognition from the APAC region, and we are the volume partner of the year for 2018-19 fiscal year, and we have gained a lot more accolades in the career of 12 years in overall 12 years. So without further delay, let me turn over the lights to Mr. Suresh Kumar NK, who giving you the lights and heads up on the agenda and what are we are going to see in the session today. And I just want to give you a small heads up on the question session, Q&A session. If you have any questions, you can drop down your questions on the Q&A box, Q&A section, so that our panelists will answer you. And we also have a Q&A session in the end of the presentation. So over to you, Mr. Suresh.
Thank you, Arjun, for the quick introduction. My name is Suresh. I work for 4iApp Solutions, and I head the database practice. So hello, everyone. Here today, we'll be seeing about the key features of the 19C Oracle database. As most of you might be aware of Oracle database 19C, it offers customers the best performance, the scalability, availability, and security for all their transactional day-to-day workloads, as well as their analytical workloads. And Oracle Database 19C is a long-term support release. It's been widely used, and specifically in the 12C family of products, it's been a very long-term release. Even though 20C and 21C is in the market, so still 19C is having more support than the latest versions. So it is available both in on-premise as well as in cloud. Okay. So today's agenda will be we'll be having a short introduction about 19C database for the benefit of people who are not aware of the database, and then we'll be dealing with the high availability concepts. See, we have loads of features in related to 19C databases. Respecting time, we just have selected only the key features. So we'll be going through key features related to high availability, and about diagnostic features and the security related features, and then about upgrade to the 19C. What are the options available to upgrade to 19C, and what are the upgrade paths available if you are on different versions prior to 19C, and then how you can move to your cloud, because going forward, moving to be a cloud will be preferred approach for most of them. So how feasible it is to move to cloud, how easy transition it is there, and about the support release term, everything we'll be discussing in detail. So I just hand it over to Mr. Aziz for the further presentation. He will just take you through the introduction of 19C database. Over to you, Mr. Aziz.
Thank you, Suresh. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abdul Aziz, and I am from Oracle, working as a technology cloud architect covering Middle East and Africa. So welcome to everyone in this session. Before we deep dive into Oracle Database 19C, I think it's important to remember that Oracle Database has been the cornerstone of enterprise systems for the last 40 years, very long time. Over that time, we have added a multitude of features under the guidance of our customers, from, for example, from row level locking and scalable read consistency, to the ability to logically break tables up into smaller partitions for scanning billions of rows a second using parallel queries, and other features related to automations, being it automatic memory management, for example, or automatic SQL tuning, and other automation that have been included along the way. Many of these features and their implementation are industry leading, and in many cases remain unique to Oracle Database. More recently, Oracle Database 18C and the previous released Database 12C family introduced hundreds of new features and improvement. Some of the more significant in 12C include multi-tenant option, JSON support, database in memory, sharding, and more. While stability is the focus of Oracle Database 19C, it also introduced many new features, and this session will cover these features in the session, in the part where Suresh will cover them. But now, can you move to the next slide, please? Now, why do you want to upgrade? Why do you want to deploy 19C? Why you don't stay, for example, in 8i or 10 or 11? There are multiple reasons. I summarized here three main reasons. The first one is support, the second is security, and the last one is benefiting from the new innovations and the new features. When it comes to support, there are two kind of releases, long-term release and innovation release. One of the questions I got recently, why, for example, we don't talk about 21C instead of 19C? Why we are talking about 19C exactly here? It's important to differentiate between long-term release and innovation release. So a long-term release, Oracle Database long-term releases are ideal for use cases that benefit from less frequent upgrades to newer releases. So basically, where you need stability and long-term deployment, you need to go for long-term release. And 19C is one of those. So long-term releases offer the highest level of stability and the longest length of error correction support. These releases have 5 years of premier support, followed by 3 years of extended support. For example, for 19C is supported for 5 years till 2027, for about 5 years for premier support and 2 years and 3 years for extended support. The innovation release are in between. In between Oracle Database long releases, we have innovation release. So Oracle delivers Oracle Database innovation releases that include many enhancements and new capabilities, which will also be included in the next long-term release. So between two long-term releases, you have innovation release that includes new innovations, but the support is around 2 years of premier support, and there is no extended support. Can you go to the next slide, please? For just to give you actually to help you plan ahead, this is a visual roadmap that captures Oracle database releases from 11.2 onward, showing the life support stages. For example, premier support, extended support, and the error correction windows for each release. As you can see, not all releases are eligible for extended support. So there are actually three types of support. There is premier support, extended support, and sustaining support. So premier support, it's usually available and it's always available when the release is generally available. For example, here in 19C, it is available since 2017, as you can see. And it provides access to product updates, enhancement, as well as technical assistance and support resources to help you maintain your product, optimize performance, and effectively implement new software functionalities. Then you have extended support that is almost similar to premier support, except it does not provide certifications and certification with the third-party new third-party products. And finally, there is sustainer support, but we are not putting here in the slide. Next slide, please. You can access the support, the lifetime support technology online in this link, and you can find actually the milestones of different support type, premier, extended, or sustaining support for different releases. So again, as you can see here, 19C is generally available in April 2019. Premier support will end in April 2024, and you can still benefit from extended support till 2027. And of course, this is also indefinite support, but sustaining support is indefinite. Sustaining support provides pre-existing patches and pre-existing fixes. For example, if you have an issue with the database in, let's say, in 2030, that issue, if there is a pre-existing patch during between 2019 and 2027, you will have access to it. So one reason to upgrade to 19C is the support. As you can see, the support of 11G ended in January this year. And if you have this version or before, I think it's time to move. Next slide, please. Another reason to upgrade is actually to benefit from critical patches, fixes, and corrections, specifically related to security. So, and security is the most important reason for customers to upgrade. We understand that security is a holistic, it should be taken as a holistic approach. It's not, the patch will not fix everything, but upgrade and patches are most important, because at the end of the day, what we secure is data. So we can secure the network, the accesses, the permissions, and all that. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure that our data is secure and safe. Just to highlight the importance of security, I wanted to take time actually to talk about three use cases in three different industries that suffered a lot of data breaches. Those are just examples. There are thousands out there, and you can in internet you can find every day you can find new breaches and new threats. But I just want to highlight the importance of security. First one here is Qatar National Bank, that in 2019 hackers leaked QNB data and exposed 1.4 gigabyte of data. Yes, maybe you can see it as a small amount of data, but actually it's 2 million database records. It's huge. And the dump that was published in internet included hundreds of thousands of financial records. including credit card numbers, their PIN codes, and customer transaction logs. And also the stolen data included actually some sensitive state information, which resulted in an international diplomatic incident between this country and other countries. This is just one example. A second example here I want to share with you is Equifax. So in September 2017, Equifax, which is an American multinational consumer credit reporting agency, announced that it experienced a data breach which impacted the. Can you go to the following slide, please? Which impacted the personal the personal information of approximately 147 million people. So almost half the population of the US. And hackers stole names, birth dates, social security numbers, trade secrets. It's huge. You can just Google this and you find a lot of actually information about that. And the impact it's significant. So on the consumer themselves, the consumer of Equifax, on the trust in this company, and also the financial impact is huge. After years of investigations, Equifax has agreed actually to a global settlement and to pay 650 million. This is an example of the impact if we don't apply patches and if you don't secure the data that we have in the company. Next slide. The third example is in Sony PSN. So in 2011, hackers accessed data of 77 million users of PlayStation Network. So Sony has warned that the names, addresses, and other personal data of about 77 million users and account in PlayStation Network has been stolen. So gamer even have been locked out of the network, and the company paid $170 million to actually to remediate this disaster. And also the revenue dropped by $3.1 billion. All this actually to show you actually the impact of security, and if you don't take it seriously. And when we talk with the IT, we all the time hear that my data is not facing the internet, or we put in place DMZ zone in between our web server and the backend applications and all that. But we can easily find that a lot of threats are coming from within the company itself. Next slide. Around 92% of malware gets delivered via email. And also, sometimes there are also employees with good intent that end up breaching data and causing security issues. Therefore, Oracle strongly recommend that we remain and customers remain on actively supported versions, so they can benefit from the latest patches when it comes to security, and also to apply CPU critical patch update security patches without any delay. So security is the second reason to upgrade, and the third reason is actually to benefit actually and take advantage from the features and the innovation. Next slide, Suresh. Many innovations that comes with the latest version or release of database that is here at 19C. There are a lot of new features related to performance, related to availability, related to security, and many more. And I will let Suresh take us through these new features in 19C.
Thank you, Mr. Aziz. Okay, so we'll just see about the key features of 19C database. So one of the key features of 12C database family is like it's about multi-tenancy. So we had this right from 12C database onwards. So multi-tenancy is all about running multiple database in a single container environment. So if you see a multi-tenant environment, it just has a container database which contains the metadata and which are related to the multiple databases. So it just has a single repository of metadata which is related to multiple pluggable databases, and it just runs a single instance of the background process which are used by the multiple pluggable database. So this is really helpful for consolidating multiple database servers. Suppose your database is running on multiple servers, and you unnecessarily pay for your processor for each and every database running regarding to the licensing. So when your environment with multiple servers running multiple database can be can take advantage of this multi-tenant feature, you reduce your overall database footprint. Okay, so you can manage your multiple pluggable database as a single unit. It reduces the overhead and your maintenance cost, because you need not patch your each and every pluggable database separately. You need not upgrade it separately, or even the monitoring and the backup and the optimization also, you need not do it separately at each database level, because your container has the core Oracle software. So whenever you want to do a patching and other activities, maintenance can be done on the centralized level. So you save more on the maintenance cost and the overhead cost. So prior to 19C, people were thinking about moving to multi-tenant because only one single user-defined pluggable database was allowed to be created without going for the multi-tenant license. If you want to create more than one pluggable database, then you need to go for multi-tenant license. So that was a little expensive. So people thought, let us go with the non-container database. But 19C onwards, they have relaxed this. Oracle has relaxed this, and they said you can create up to 3 user defined PDBs without having to license the multi-tenant option. That's a great feature they've introduced. So you can explore multi-tenant feature, which is having a very good features related to high availability and performance and scalability. So these are the few features which we related to multi-tenant will be seeing. One of feature is online cloning and relocation. If you see here on the above picture, it has a container database. On top of that, you see the pluggable database. You can just plug in the database and unplug it. So online cloning and relocation is also so simple. So you can just unplug a database from one container database and plug into another database. So while the database is up and running, you can just unplug and plug it either in the same container or in a different container for either relocation of database or for cloning also. So it's online cloning and relocation can be done, which is a very high benefit related to high availability concept. So you need not have any downtime. So moreover, when it comes to refreshes, so most of the customers would require frequent refreshes of your production environment for testing. So maybe some people have a weekly, some people monthly, or some people even daily. So in that case, a lot of time goes around this backup and restore and cloning. But a new feature of incremental refreshes, like whenever you clone your test environment, the subsequent clone, you can just do an incremental refresh. So whatever changes have been done from your past cloning, only those changes can be refreshed to your test environment. So it's very quickly we can do you can just present your test environments to the end users. So this is a very good features regarding to incremental refresh. And application container, similar to the database container, some people have their application hosted as SaaS model, wherein your application has some common metadata which can be used across the different databases. So it's just like a shared application which can be used across multiple databases. So you can containerize your application also when you put all the common objects accessed across the application as a container. So this again a feature. It's starting from 12 to onwards. It's available. So all these features are from 12.2 onwards. It's cumulatively available. Either it's in 12.2 or release 1. Release 2 is 18C and release 3 is 19C. So when you go to 19C, all the features are available for you when you along with 19C. Okay. So transportable backups is another key feature. Earlier, when we were taking backups and you want to restore to a certain point of time, we need to restore the full backup and the incremental backup and to bring it to that point of recovery wherein you want to recover at any point of time. But what happens in a pluggable database, in between your full backup and your incremental backup, if you had you had just relocated your PDB, in that case you will lose that particular you will lose track of that, and you will your restoration will not be appropriate. So in transportable backups, they brought that feature also. Even when you relocate a PDB during that backup and restore process, you will that relocation also will be tracked, and that relocation operations also will be taken care. So that's one feature available from 19C onwards. And the rapid application testing and ADDM earlier was available at the container level. So we could not do at a pluggable database level. From 19C, they have introduced at the PDB level itself, so that you can do multiple your diagnosis and your performance testing at the PDB level itself. Okay, this is another high availability feature. Zero downtime grid infrastructure patching. Actually, in a rack environment, suppose you have a 2-node rack environment, and you need to do a maintenance activity like patching or any other activity. So what we earlier used to do is we need to patch that one node at a time, so that other nodes are available when the patching is happening, and the node which is being patched will be taken down. Still the database was available, but the problem was we were compromising on the performance because your few nodes will be down during the patching. But in 19C, it's a zero downtime grid infrastructure patching was introduced, wherein even the node which is being patched need not be taken down. So you can patch the separate Oracle home in a different location, and then you can switch that grid home to the particular instance which is running, and then that particular instance will be that particular rack node will be upgraded to the latest Oracle home. So that switch grid home feature is a very good feature, wherein you need not compromise on the your high availability or your performance and related to your rack environment. And this feature is related to your standby environment. So most of you, if the technical persons or the DBS might be knowing, whenever we create a restore point, for example, when we have any major activity, normally we create a restore points, so that what we do is when any failure happens or something, suppose for a major code release or something, any failure happens, we want to flash back to the point where the failure was not there. So that time we create a restore point and do a flashback. So earlier what we used to do, whenever we restore the primary database, your standby database, there are different steps which you need to do to bring your standby database again to sync with the primary database. But 19C onwards, the restore points created on the primary is automatically propagated to your standby database. And whenever you flashback primary database, your standby primary database flashback is automatically propagated to your standby database also. And when you do a reset logs on your primary database, automatically it is taken care in their standby database also. And automatically the sync between the primary and standby is taken care, and you need not do any manual intervention like we did in the earlier versions. So these restore points are called replicated restore points, which is getting replicated from your primary to standby. This is one of the key feature in automatic indexing. This is predominantly available in the engineering systems, specifically Exadata. So how it works is like, for example, in a normal scenario, it is a very mundane exercise. So you people, any you need to have a expert performance tuner. So he needs to see what are the candidates for indexing, and he needs to see what are the problematic SQLs, and it requires a lot of human intervention. But in 19C onwards, Oracle introduced this automatic indexing, which is an expert system which runs 24/7, and there is no DBA involvement required. So DBA need not give any inputs or perform any action. So what it does is it keeps repository of the SQLs which run, and it just identifies what are the problematic SQLs. So it keeps all the SQL plans, the bind variables, and all those things, and it identifies the candidates which need to be indexed. So it sees which are the badly performing SQLs, or which need tuning. So it creates an index. Initially, it creates an index which is unusable, and it internally tests it, just verifies it, whether that particular index is having a better performance. It just in coordination with the optimizer, it sees whether that particular performance of that SQL is getting benefited after this index is creation. Till that point of time, the index is not visible to the others. So once it verifies and finds that there's a better performance, then it decides, okay, it can be published to the users. So it decides, and it is being made visible. So later on, the ongoing validation of this index is going on. It takes place in the background in the database engine, and it verifies whether this particular index is usable, and it keeps monitoring. And in case if this index is not being used, then automatically it's being dropped. So this entire operation is being taken care by Oracle database itself. So it's a very good feature, and it helps you to optimize your SQL queries in the database. This is again one more SQL quarantine feature, where this is also available in an Exadata environment in your engineering system. So whenever you execute bad SQL, for example, if it's consuming a lot of resources from the either on the server or your Oracle point of view. So what happens is your system, you experience a lot of system slowness and performance issues. Okay, so what SQL quarantine feature does is it identifies the problematic SQL, and it's whichever is consuming a lot of your resources, and it quarantines the SQL statement. Okay, so quarantine, I think everybody would have been aware of recent due to this pandemic. So quarantine means isolation. Okay, so isolation of this particular SQL takes place so that it does not run the next time. So immediately DBA can intervene and see all these problematic SQLs in $SQL. You can just see what are these SQLs which have been quarantined. He can take necessary action, and then we can release it from the quarantine, so that it gets back to the business, and you can run this query again for your application. So this is another feature for your optimizing your SQL queries. So this is again related to performance, the real-time statistics. So earlier we used to run gather statistics at the database level. So in between there might be a lot of DML operations happening, and your database statistics might become stale. So you have to keep on monitoring the statistics. It becomes a very tough challenge for the DBAs to maintain this statistics. But in 12C onwards, we have the real-time statistics. So what it does is, on the fly, when you do any conventional DML operations, it gathers the statistics. This statistics is supplemented with the DBMS stats already in place. For example, last week some statistics have been gathered, and this week some major DML operations is being taking place. So it just concatenates with the existing DBMS stats to make the statistics up to date, so that you don't have any stale statistics and you don't feel any performance issue. So it doesn't require any manual intervention. To have this done, a new task is added within the Oracle database engine to do it more frequently. You can that frequency can be adjusted internally. This is about the advanced diagnosis which is introduced in 19C. Earlier, as I told you initially, so ADDM was not part of the pluggable database. Only in the container level, your ADDM report was available, so the performance could not be justified at the database level. So you have now ADDM support for pluggable database at the PDB database level, and related to RAG, we have this Oracle Cluster Health Advisor, so which gives you a detailed report every time this cluster health runs. It gives you a report on cluster health. So that has been integrated with Oracle Trace File Analyzer, which is having a workflow process. So wherein whenever this Oracle Cluster Health Advisor finds any discrepancy or any performance bottleneck, it immediately it just through the Oracle Trace File Analyzer workflow, it just triggers a mail to the customer saying that there's a performance issue which need to be addressed. So before the end customer feels that performance impact, easily we can fix this particular cluster related issues. So that's a very good feature they have introduced. So you can just easily automate this and for this monitoring purpose. And Aura Check and Exa Check, this is again for your diagnostics for your Oracle database environment, the accelerated environment. Earlier, when you take an Aura Check or accelerator, you used to get a lot of information related to diagnostics, and it becomes very difficult to spot out the critical issues. So we don't know, it gets lost because of the lot of content. So they have given a feature where you can just select only the critical checks which need more attention to. So that is one feature given in terms of diagnosis. And if you have multiple databases for you, for example, a single database administrator is monitoring multiple databases. So if he wants to run this Aura Check or Exa Check across the environment, so he needs to have access to the multiple servers. So earlier we used to give SSH access, passwordless access. So that was a security breach. So what Oracle has come up with is they given support to this REST and private key. So using more secure methods of accessing the multiple servers to run the diagnostics, Oracle has given this REST and private key support related to diagnostics. So moving on to security. We have something called privilege analysis, which is available as part of Enterprise Edition. Earlier, it was part of Oracle database vault. So now it is part of this Oracle database Enterprise Edition itself. So what this privilege analysis does is when you enable it, so it just runs the scan across the database for all the privileges. What are the privileges? What are the critical privileges having being given to the users? And it gives you a detailed report on what is being used and what's not being used. So you can have a control on what privileges you need to give and what can be revoked. So this is a very good feature wherein some people have very high privileges which are not required, which can harm your database environment. So that is one good feature related to privilege. And util file dir is being used right from traditional database from earlier versions prior to 19C. It was not being removed, and still even though you had this database directory objects support was there, still the util file dir was supported. The main drawback of util file dir was you need to give permissions for the file system, the underlying file systems, which was again a security threat. So from 19C, what they came up with, they just disable this util file dir option, and you can no longer use this util file dir, and you need to create database directory objects, and they gave you a lot of easy options to migrate all your util file dir to database directory objects. Okay, so there's no more accessing the file system, so there's the security breach is being taken care of. And even for this lobs also, like for when you have this character large objects or any images or any document files, important documents, or your binary large objects. So all this been stored at the file system level. So ultimately, if somebody is having access, so it is used to be a security threat. So they bought a feature for securing this locators also. So they came up with a signature-based security for lob locators. So wherein you can secure your lob using the particular signature or a secure key. Okay, and again related to aura check and exa check diagnostics. Earlier, we did not have any encryption for this aura check and exa check. So anybody can see the sensitive information related to your environment. So your lot of environment about the details about the environment, your IPs and everything. So it used to be a security breach. So they came up with encrypting this diagnostics collection. So whenever you run this diagnostics, it encrypts and you can protect it with the password, and you can encrypt and decrypt it accordingly based on whoever needs access. This again about the database support timelines. So why specifically 19C, as Aziz also explained, why not 20C, 29 or 21C? Because of the specific long-term support release for 19C database. So it has premium support till March 2024 and an extended support till 2027. So even though 20C was released last year, due to pandemic, they didn't have it. They didn't want to. They didn't emphasize much on 20C. And from 20C onwards, we don't have this support for the non-container database. So you need to go for multi-tenant only. So that also is another feature they've got it from the 20C release onwards. So 19C once again, so it's a long-term support release. So it's high time people upgraded to 19C database to take advantage of the multi-tenant feature, the high availability, and your security, as well as your advanced diagnostics. There are loads and loads of features, as I told you. So we've just given you a gist of it, and here you can see the MOS node ID. So going through the node ID, you can check the latest schedule for this support timelines. So 19C as a database, it's a more widely used database. Most even in cloud, Oracle uses or 19C database version for their data for the database provisioning and specifically this autonomous database and other stuff. So 19C is the most preferred database. So when you plan to do a migration from your on-premise to cloud, it becomes much easier because you have the same version in on-premise as well as in cloud. So you can port your features, whatever you have in your existing database, to your cloud environment. And you can even manage your both on-premise as well as your cloud environment with your enterprise manager. So the entire database estate can be managed with your enterprise manager, both your Oracle on-premise and your Oracle cloud environments can be maintained. So 19C transition makes it easier for in terms of support level. Okay, and in terms of license portability, you are always protected with the investment, as you can bring your own license to the cloud. So when you bring your license to the cloud, in fact, your the license, the processor license translates the OCPU, which is again you get more performance when you come to the cloud in terms of the processing capability, and you can also maximize your benefits and flexibility with the unlimited license agreement. So when you have the unlimited license agreement, you take a license for a specific amount of resources, and you can either exceed or you can do less on what you subscribe. So you can explore on multiple options. So that also option is available with regard to the licensing. And again, you might be having a question. Okay, if I want to upgrade to 19C, what are the options available? So you might be even on the oldest versions like 10G or 11G releases. So how do I migrate to 19C, and what are the options available? So when you are migrating from your existing database, if your version is on 11.204 or higher, you have a direct upgrade path to your 19C. So till 11.204 till 18C, you have a direct upgrade path. For the older versions, you have to you have to just upgrade to either 11.204 or any of the higher versions to upgrade to the 19C. That's one hop in between. So you have to come to that version and then you can do a direct upgrade to 19C. As part of the upgrade, Oracle also introduced a new upgrade tool called Auto Upgrade tool. Earlier, when we were doing a database upgrade, what used to happen is the prerequisites and the post requisites we used to do it on a manual basis. So then the actual upgrade will be run by the utility. Okay, so the prerequisites and the post requisites, we need to monitor it manually what's happening, and then we need to take a call. So but in auto upgrade, even the prerequisites as well as the post requisites are being automated. So when you run an auto upgrade, so you can run for either a single database or a multi database automatically. So when there's no human intervention required, so it's just a one jar file wherein you call the jar file, you just create a configuration file, so giving the details of the database, and whichever database need to be upgraded, you just run that utility. It runs the prerequisites and it runs the upgrade and the post requisites also, and it gives you a complete monitoring capability of the upgrade. So you can just monitor what are the activities going on, and this is being supported from upgrading from 11.204 onwards. So you can use this auto upgrade feature. It's this feature ships along with the 19.3 database, but you can download the latest versions, which will be more latest with all the features included. So this is a Note ID where you can download that particular auto upgrade tool.